Open a modern bathroom medicine cabinet, and you can see how quietly the modern world has changed one of the oldest problems in human life. A birth control pill in a plastic case. A condom wrapper folded behind toothpaste. A pregnancy test under the sink, waiting for one private moment to answer a question that once belonged to an entire camp. You barely think about it. The object is small, disposable, personal. It fits in a drawer. But for most of human history, sex was never only private. Before modern contraception, there were no pregnancy tests, no hospitals, no formula, no paid leave, no pharmacy, no sealed bathroom door where one person could manage the future alone. Desire could happen in a moment. A child changed years. Pregnancy meant blood, hunger, carrying, nursing, protection, sleeplessness, danger, and the need for other people. In a world of smoke, cold ground, sharp stone, and long walking, reproduction was not a lifestyle choice. It was survival architecture. So what did ancient humans do before birth control? The answer is not simply that they had more children or that they lived without control. The deeper answer is that humans managed reproduction through a system older than any medicine cabinet. Bodies, milk, kinship, obligation, food sharing, pair bonds, reputation, and the memory of who helped whom. Most people imagine ancient sex as either chaotic or simple. Men and women meet, desire happens, children arrive, the group somehow survives. But that picture is too flat. Anthropology tells a stranger story. Human reproduction was never just biology. It was ecology. It was timing. It was social pressure. It was cooperation stretched across years. Because a human baby is not like most newborn animals. A human child arrives helpless, slow, hungry, and expensive. It cannot cling well enough to travel alone. It cannot feed itself. It cannot understand danger. It must be carried while the mother walks. It must be warmed when the night turns cold. It must be protected from predators, strangers, sickness, and starvation. And unlike many mammals, humans often raise more than one dependent child at a time. That changed everything. One of the most important clues comes from hunter-gatherer research among the Kung, studied by Melvin Connor and Carol Worthman. Their work suggested that frequent nursing, day and night, was connected with changes in reproductive hormones and long intervals between births. This does not mean Paleolithic women consciously used breastfeeding like a modern contraceptive. That would be too simple. But it does suggest something powerful. In small-scale foraging life, the body itself could become part of birth spacing. Imagine a woman moving through dry grass with a child on her hip. The baby nurses often, not by schedule, not by app, not by advice from a clinic, but because closeness is survival. The child cries, the breast answers. The body reads that demand. Fertility is not switched off forever, but it can be delayed. The rhythm of milk, carrying, hunger, and movement becomes part of the reproductive system. This is where ancient life becomes difficult to judge from a modern bathroom. We are used to separating things. Sex over here, pregnancy over there, childcare somewhere else, work in another room. But in a foraging camp, these were not separate categories. A nursing child affected a mother's body. A mother's body affected the timing of the next child. The timing of children affected the survival of the whole group. Birth spacing was not only personal, it was practical. A second clue comes from Sarah Blaffer-Hurdy's work on cooperative breeding and allomaternal care. Her argument is not that mothers were unimportant, it is the opposite. Human mothers were so important and human children so demanding that mothers could rarely do it alone. A child's survival often depended on help from others. Grandmothers, older siblings, fathers, aunts, kin, and trusted members of the group. Picture a fire at the edge of evening. A mother sleeps for a short time, her body emptied by milk and walking. Someone else holds the child. An older child distracts a toddler. A grandmother softens food. A man returns with meat or gathered resources. A woman who did not give birth that season still carries, watches, feeds, warns, remembers. That is not sentiment. That is infrastructure. Modern life often treats childcare as a private household responsibility, hidden behind apartment walls. But in many small-scale societies, care is distributed. A baby has one mother, but survival can involve many hands. Ancient humans did not solve reproduction by reducing the child to an individual project. They solved it by spreading the weight across relationships. And that weight was enormous. This is why pair bonding matters, but not in the oversimplified way people often imagine. Research on human pair bonds, including work reviewed by scholars such as Robert Quinlan and later discussions by Schacht and Kramer, points to a basic problem. Human children are costly. Lactation is demanding, and long dependence makes support valuable. Pair bonds can help stabilize care, provisioning, and protection, but they are not a neat universal fairy tale. Human mating systems vary. Marriage rules vary. Jealousy, attraction, obligation, and cooperation have always lived close together. Still, one fact remains. Sex could create a child, and a child required years of investment. So ancient relationships were never just about romance. They were about trust under pressure. Who brings food when the mother cannot travel far? Who stays near the child? Who protects the camp? Who is remembered as reliable? Who disappears when help is needed? A bond was not only a feeling, it was a survival contract, written in repeated action. There is something almost brutal in that. Modern desire can be made weightless by technology. Ancient desire could not. A moment of attraction could pull the future into the present. It could create alliance, jealousy, responsibility, conflict, tenderness, and risk. It could strengthen a camp or disturb it. It could bind families together or force the group to regulate who belonged with whom. That brings us to another piece of the system. Social rules. Anthropological studies of hunter-gatherer marriage practices, including comparative work by Walker and colleagues, suggest that mate relationships were often shaped by social regulation, kinship, residence patterns, and group expectations. There was no single prehistoric rulebook. Ancient humans were not all living under one model, but the pattern is clear enough to matter. Sex and reproduction were not left entirely to private impulse. Imagine the camp watching without staring. People know who shares food, who sleeps near whom, who is promised, who is avoided, who causes conflict, who is trusted with children. In a small group, privacy exists, but invisibility does not. Reputation follows you. Desire has witnesses. A relationship is not just two bodies. It is a social fact that can affect food, care, alliances, and children not yet born. That may sound suffocating to modern ears, but it also reveals why birth control is the wrong lens if we mean only a device. Ancient humans did not have a pill that made reproduction private. They had a world in which reproduction stayed connected to the body and the group. Fertility could be affected by nursing. Child survival could depend on allomothers. Pair bonds could stabilize care. Social rules could shape mating and obligation. None of this was perfect. None of it was gentle by default. Ancient life included coercion, loss, infant death, maternal danger, hunger, and conflict. We should not romanticize it. A modern hospital, modern contraception, and reproductive medicine have saved lives and changed human freedom in ways that are impossible to dismiss. But the old system tells us something modern life often hides. Sexual desire is immediate. Human offspring are not. The body wants closeness now, but the child asks for years. That gap between desire and dependence is one of the deepest tensions in human life. Biology creates the spark. Society has to carry the fire. The body helped carry it. Frequent breastfeeding could influence fertility through hormonal pathways connected to ovulation. The social world helped carry it too. Kin, partners, allomothers, shared food, and reputation distributed the cost of children. Ancient reproduction was not controlled by one object. It was controlled, imperfectly, by a living network. And that network worked because everyone could see the burden. A child was not an abstract future. It was a warm body beside the fire, a mouth needing food, a cry in the dark, a weight against the hip, a small hand reaching toward flame. The consequences of sex were visible, audible, physical. They entered the camp and stayed there. Modern life changed that visibility. Now, the medicine cabinet holds the decision in miniature. A pill can separate sex from pregnancy. A condom can turn reproduction into prevention. A pregnancy test can move a life-changing question into one private hand, under fluorescent light, beside a sink, while the rest of the world continues outside the door. That privacy is a form of power. It gives people choices ancient humans did not have. It protects bodies. It can prevent suffering. It can allow love without immediate parenthood. and parenthood with more intention. It can give a woman control over timing in a way that a prehistoric camp could never guarantee. But something else happened too. As reproduction became more private, the burden also became more isolated. The ancient camp did not always protect people fairly, but it knew that children belonged to more than desire. Modern life often knows this less clearly. It gives us technology to prevent pregnancy, but when pregnancy happens, when a child arrives, when care becomes exhausting, the old need returns. Someone must carry. Someone must wake. Someone must feed. Someone must stay. The deep twist is not that ancient humans had no birth control. The deeper truth is that they had a different kind of control. Not a pill, not a wrapper, not a plastic test, but a web of bodies, milk, kinship, memory, obligation, and group survival. Their control was not always chosen. It was not always fair, but it understood something modern life keeps trying to outsource. Reproduction is never only biological. It is social. Go back to the bathroom medicine cabinet. Look again at the pill, the condom wrapper, the pregnancy test. They are not just modern conveniences. They are small objects carrying an ancient burden that once belonged to the whole camp. They show what we gained: privacy, safety, choice. They also show what became easier to forget. No human child was ever meant to be raised by one isolated body alone. The technology changed. The burden did not disappear. Somewhere beneath the plastic, the packaging, the sterile light, the old human question is still there. If desire creates life, who will help carry it? And maybe that is why the medicine cabinet feels so modern and so ancient at the same time. It holds a private answer to a problem that was never private. You are not separate from those people around the fire. You are what survived.